52 million votes in a single night. For a 12-year-old girl holding a rabbit puppet, that number wasn't just a record, it was the most votes ever cast in a single AGT finale in the entire history of the show. America didn't just like Darci Lynne Farmer, they went absolutely wild for her. But here's the part that nobody really talked about. The girl standing on that stage, smiling ear to ear, wasn't who the audience thought she was. Behind that performance was a story of paralyzing shyness, a mother who almost said no, a secret mentor working in the shadows, and a kid who spent her whole childhood hiding from the world until a puppet gave her a voice she never knew she had. This is the story they didn't show you. Before the stages and the standing ovations, Darci Lynne Farmer was a little girl from Oklahoma City who could barely look a stranger in the eye. She was born on October 12, 2004, the only daughter of Clark and Misty Farmer, with 3 older brothers, Nate, Dalton, and Nick. From the time she was tiny, Darci loved to sing. She had a real gift for it, but that gift was locked away behind something she couldn't shake, severe shyness that followed her everywhere. She wouldn't talk to people. She'd hide behind her mom in public. She couldn't even bring herself to sing in front of her own father without wanting to disappear. Her parents knew she had something special, but they couldn't get it out of her. So they did what most Oklahoma parents would do. They tried everything. Pageants, talent shows, gentle nudges. Clark would encourage her to just sing around the house. None of it cracked the shell. What most people never consider is that the girl who eventually made 52 million people pick up their phones and vote was the same girl who once couldn't hold eye contact long enough to order food. That gap between who she was and who she became is where the real story lives. In 2014, at a beauty pageant in Las Vegas, Darci's life quietly changed direction, and she almost didn't notice. She was 9 years old when she crossed paths with a girl named Larissa Bonaquesti, the international teen title holder at the pageant, and a ventriloquist. Darci was mesmerized. Something about watching someone perform through a puppet clicked in a way nothing else ever had. She went home and became obsessed. She started begging her parents for a puppet. And here's the detail that gets glossed over. Her mother, Misty, pushed back. The response Darci got was direct. "You're a singer, not a ventriloquist." Her mom wasn't being harsh. She just saw a daughter who was already struggling to perform and couldn't quite picture why adding a puppet to the equation would help. But Darci didn't let it go. She kept asking. She kept making her case. And finally, on her 10th birthday, she got her first puppet, a character named Katie. What happened next was almost unbelievable. 2 weeks later, she was performing in local talent shows, not practicing, performing in front of people. That puppet didn't just give her a hobby, it gave her a way to exist on stage without the fear swallowing her whole. A ventriloquy coach named Gary Owen saw her compete at a local contest and was so floored that he immediately offered to coach her and serve as her business manager. From that point on, the trajectory changed fast. Here's the part of Darci Lynne's AGT story that barely made headlines at the time, but it's one of the most fascinating pieces of the whole thing. While America was watching this 12-year-old seemingly come out of nowhere and dominate an entire season of the most-watched talent competition on television, there was someone guiding her from behind the scenes that nobody was talking about. That person was Terry Fator. Fator had won AGT himself 10 years earlier. He was already a Las Vegas legend with a $100 million contract at the Mirage and a reputation as one of the greatest ventriloquists alive. He was also Darci's idol. When she reached out to him asking for advice, he didn't just reply with encouragement, he jumped in completely. Fator has spoken about this openly since. Gary Owen, Darci's coach, called him directly and asked him to help her through the entire competition. He wrote material for her. He met with her every week. He guided her through each performance, stage by stage. When he watched her in the finale, he said he was more nervous watching her than he ever was competing himself. He told Texas Lifestyle magazine, "I adore Darci Lynne and her family. Her mentor Gary Owen called me and asked me to help her through her AGT season, and I worked with her by helping write for her and coached her the entire season. I was so proud of her when she won." The performance America fell in love with wasn't just the work of a gifted 12-year-old. It was a 12-year-old who had one of the greatest ventriloquists in history in her corner every single step of the way. That changes the picture significantly. The AGT audition is the moment most people point to, and for good reason. Darci walked out on that stage with her rabbit puppet Petunia, opened her mouth, and performed George Gershwin's Summertime in a way that stopped the room cold. The voice coming out of that puppet didn't sound like it belonged to a kid. It sounded like a full-grown jazz singer, and Darci's lips weren't moving. Judge Mel B didn't wait for the performance to finish. She hit the golden buzzer. The stage erupted in confetti. Darci burst into tears. That audition video went on to rack up over 67 million views on AGT's YouTube channel, eventually climbing past 90 million. It became one of the most watched talent show auditions in television history. But the finale numbers are what really tell the story. More than 21 million people tuned in live. Over 52 million votes were cast that single night, the most votes ever recorded in a single AGT finale. Darci won by a margin that nobody had seen before. She became the youngest winner in the show's history and walked away with the $1 million prize at 12 years old. When the cameras cleared and reporters started asking the obvious question, "What are you going to do with $1 million?" Darci Lynne's answer said everything about who she was. She didn't talk about cars or mansions. She said she wanted to give some to her church because they were always raising funds for mission programs. She wanted to buy her mom a dishwasher because, as she put it, they really needed more household appliances. And the third thing on her list, a baby pug. She wanted a pug badly and she felt ready for the puppy life. The dishwasher comment caught the attention of GE Appliances, who ended up giving her mother Misty an entire kitchen's worth of new appliances plus a washer and dryer. When Misty found out, she cried. These are the small details that reveal the kind of household Darci came from. Grounded, faith-driven, not remotely caught up in the spectacle of it all. That groundedness would matter a lot in the years ahead, when the industry started to test who she really was, and the pressure came quickly. Her homecoming show in Oklahoma City sold out in 6 minutes. 6. They had to add a matinee the same day and then 2 additional shows the day after. Her national tour expanded from 5 dates to over 50. At 13 years old, she was ringing in New Year's Eve at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas alongside Fergie. This is the part of Darci Lynne's story that doesn't get enough attention. After the win, something uncomfortable started to happen. The audience that loved her began to hold her in place. They'd fallen for a 12-year-old with a puppet named Petunia, and a significant portion of them wanted that image frozen in time. As Darci moved through her teens, touring, appearing on television, homeschooling through the chaos of a professional performance career, the world outside was still projecting 2017 onto her. By 2024, she was 19 and returning to the AGT franchise for Fantasy League. She made a decision that sparked real friction. She wanted to show people who she'd become, not who she'd been. In her early performances, she started stepping away from pure ventriloquism, picking up a guitar, writing her own material, singing with her own voice front and center. The judges didn't love it. Simon Cowell essentially told her on live television that she was making a big mistake. The whole panel seemed to feel that abandoning the puppet singing formula was the wrong move. The criticism was pointed. Darci heard it all and kept going anyway. Cowell later acknowledged it. After she came back and doubled down on her own direction, he told her in front of the audience, "I've always believed the most successful people in life are people who make their own decisions and don't listen to other people. Good for you for sticking with your guns." She didn't make the finale that season, but she made a statement that was louder than any result. In 2023, Darci Lynne graduated from Deer Creek High School. She had missed her first day of 7th grade years earlier to perform live on national television, so graduating at all on something close to a normal timeline was a quiet achievement in itself. She moved out of her family home in 2024, sharing a place with her best friend. Her own words on the experience, "We didn't realize how hard it was to live on our own, but we're learning together." That line could have come from any 20-year-old, which was exactly the point. In May 2024, she made her relationship public for the first time, posting a photo with Kendon Reed, a University of Oklahoma student who had graduated high school as valedictorian and was heading toward a 2027 degree. She was done keeping things private just to manage a public image. Her original song, "Push Our Luck," based on a real moment from her own life, landed on streaming platforms and leaned into her love of country music, though she's been clear she doesn't want to be boxed into any one genre. She's currently writing across country, rock and soulful pop, figuring out which version of her sound resonates most. The touring hasn't stopped. Her Darci Lynne and Friends tour continues. She turned 21 in 2025, still rooted in Oklahoma, still chasing Nashville, still working through what the next chapter looks like. Here's what the full picture actually looks like. A girl so shy she couldn't sing in front of her father became the most voted for act in AGT finale history. A puppet her mother almost didn't let her have became the tool that unlocked everything. A mentor most of America never knew existed helped shape every performance. And a young woman who spent years being treated as a 12-year-old by the world's audience eventually made the decision to grow up anyway, on her terms, at her pace, regardless of what anyone else wanted from her. Darci Lynne Farmer didn't just win a talent competition, she built something real out of what could have easily gone sideways. The shyness didn't disappear, she just found a way through it that happened to involve a rabbit puppet and 67 million YouTube views. Where she goes from here is genuinely open. She's 21, she's writing her own music, and she's finally free of the image people tried to keep her locked inside. The story isn't finished, it's just getting to the interesting part.